May the dawn of a new day bring hope to your soul. Once again, we stand at the beginning of a day, and it's the beginning of work and chores and maybe some relaxation, maybe some rest. But before you get too busy and the hours of the day just seem to disappear or roll right into one another, I want to encourage you to set aside some time. Set aside that to-do list and spend some time with God. You may be wondering how all of the passages from today fit together, how a story from Isaiah's day and a cry of a psalmist and the teachings of Jesus during his final days, how do they all fit together? But rest assured, they do. Let's take a closer look. In Isaiah 49, verses 1 through 7, we find God reminding the people of Israel that they are chosen. It was difficult for them to grasp that they were the chosen ones because they were struggling to survive. They were a small country and they had a history, and they knew what it was like to be enslaved. They knew what it was like to lose all of their freedoms, and they knew that they couldn't go up against the bigger, stronger armies that they were surrounded by. And sometimes their own people, they strayed from God, and it just complicated everything. But in verse 6, we see the foreshadowing of a future. It says, "It is too light a thing that you should be my servant. Rise up to the tribes of Jacob and to restore the survivors of Israel. I will give you as a light to the nations, that my salvation may reach to the end of the earth." God was letting them know that they were going to survive. They were chosen. And through them, God was going to bring salvation to all of the nations. In Psalm 14, the Lord is rebuking the evildoers. Their hearts, they were known by God. And he saw them and he rejected them. In this very short passage, he made two things clear. First of all, God is holding people accountable. The second thing is, he was on the side of the oppressed. It was arrogance versus humility. It's the difference between those who rely on themselves and their own skills and those who rely on God. Again, God is looking out for his people. In verses 5 and 6, the psalmist says, "There they shall be in great terror, for God is with the company of the righteous. You would confound the plans of the poor, but the Lord is their refuge." Now we jump ahead to the New Testament and to the Gospel of Matthew. The celebration of the triumphal entry barely had died down before Jesus was at work again. This time, his words seemed stern and direct, and he took on the attitudes and the actions of the Pharisees. As he spoke with the disciples, he warned them to follow the teachings of the Pharisees, but not the actions of the Pharisees. He was showing them that even though they said the right words, they were not living it. Here, Jesus was warning against hypocrisy. In verse 28, it says, "So you also on the outside look righteous to others, but inside you are full of hypocrisy and lawlessness." You see, the Pharisees, they were in the public eye. They dressed the part. They had the best of everything. They put on a good show, but their hearts were not in the right place. Jesus was calling his people to a life of integrity. He was letting them know how important it was that your heart, your words, and your actions are all in unity with one another. Do you see the pattern? God was with Israel in the time of Isaiah. God was with the psalmist as he cried out against oppression. And God was with the people with the pure hearts, not the powerful leaders of Jesus' day. Dig deep into the history, your history, of being God's people. Discover the amazing story of love and redemption. It's a story that continues today. You and I were a part of this story, the ongoing work of God. Through the struggles and the fears and the oppression, God is with us. He is with us today. He will be with us tomorrow. And although we walk through the darkness, The brightness of Easter is breaking in. God is with us.